Hello everyone, and welcome to a rather new experience here for Thorgiween. For anybody who joins us for our streams, a popular thing that we like to do over there is we like to do a little tier list every now and again. But I thought, you know what, it's Thorgiween, we're celebrating Halloween all week long, we're celebrating great spooky games. How about we do a tier list specifically for Resident Evil monsters, and then, if it goes well, let's try posting that up there on the old YouTubes. This is going to be a major crap show. Also, I'm gonna let you guys know, we're gonna just scroll down here right now. Just scroll down, just scroll down. Look at all this. Look at all this. Now, I found two different tier lists, one of which had names for all the monsters. And this one does not. But the one that had names for all of them did not have the Resident Evil 8 characters in there. It had not been updated with them just yet. So I decided to go with the one that doesn't have any names. So we're gonna see how good my memory is on this. We're gonna see how good my memory is on this, and I've got the chat up there, and I'm hoping that the chat can maybe help me out a little bit on this. I'm hoping that maybe when I don't remember something, they can maybe back me up. And also, if you'll notice, these images are small. They are tiny. So yeah, this is going to be a treat. This is going to be a test of my memory of how well I remember Resident Evil monsters. And also, I'll be honest with you guys, this also includes a lot of the spin-off creatures. I haven't played a lot of the spin-offs. I have not played a lot of the spin-offs. So, we're gonna see what I can remember in here. We're going to start with the basic. The regular zombie, it's C tier. That should be obvious. That should be obvious. Like, that is the base. That is the, like, right down the middle, like, it's your standard zombie, but it's iconic for the series. There you go. Let's see. Then we've got the Crimson Heads. Crimson Heads are an amazing addition to the franchise. I believe that's the Crimson Head in there. But we also got this dude right over here. What's this guy in here? Oh wait, no, are those, like, just supposed to be, like, the lab zombies? Goddamn, because yeah, Resident Evil fans will divide up every single type of monster into every single category they possibly can. I believe this is Crimson Head. That head looks pretty crimson-y. I think that's an A class. That was an amazing way of, because I believe that wasn't in the original Resident Evil. I think that was just in the remake they did. And that was an amazing way of going like, oh, you know about how like all the zombies are laid out? Okay, that's great. Here's a massive curveball for you. And yeah, that was an incredible idea to throw in there. I will never forget the first time that Crimson Head just popped up on me in there, because I knew they were coming, but I thought they were coming like way later into the game. I thought they were coming way later in the game. So when they first popped up, I just had to sit there for a moment, just like, oh no, we're in this part of the game now. All right, next up, the dogs. They're a B class. They're, you know, it's an imaginative thing. We all know human zombies. Never really thought about animal zombies. And they're also insanely hard to hit in that game. So yeah, they're great, but not quite up there in the best of the best. But they are iconic for the series. Then there's the crows. It's fine. They're, you know, take them or leave them. If you got rid of the crows from the game, nobody really knows. The giant spiders, though, are creepy as hell. And I'm just, you know, granted, I've got arachnophobia. I remember when I was a kid, I didn't want to play Resident Evil just because I saw photos in game magazines of the giant spiders, and I couldn't even look at them. It freaked me out too much. The giant shark is cool, but it's just a giant shark. Like, it's not like it's got Ryan flesh on it like the dogs over here or anything. But how can you hate a giant shark? Then, the hunters. I think the hunters in that original Resident Evil, that is the perfect way of going like, okay, so you're used to the regular monsters? Okay, that's fine. Well, we're gonna just suddenly go into like Evil Dead camera first person mode here and start chasing you down. And now there's a whole brand new thing that you never even considered. There's a whole new thing that you've never even considered. That is a great way of amping up the tension. So yeah, that is an A. Now you've got the weird spider bug things. Oh right, they were in the lab underground. I was gonna say, weren't these guys only in Resident Evil 3? No, they were in the lab underground. I like these things, but they come so late in the game, and you've seen so many other things ramp up the tension, like Crimson Heads ramps up the tension, Hunters ramps up the tension. These are just like a new thing, so I kind of think that they're like a C. Are they supposed to be fleas? I thought they were supposed to be spiders. But yeah, I guess they are. They do hop around, so I guess they are more like fleas. These are just the scientist zombies. I believe that's what this is. Just the scientist zombies you run into down there. So yeah, let's just see. That's just another zombie. I don't even feel like I should bother with that. Giant snake. Giant snake is, man, it's weird. It's one of those ones where you have to ask yourself, are you judging this by when the game came out or based upon how it is now? Because judging it now, it's just a giant snake. But judging this when the game came out, back before we saw all this crazy crap in here in the franchise, giant snake was a big thing. Giant snake was something we were not expecting. So, I feel like for the time it came out, it's a B. I mean, sorry, for the time it came out, it's an A. For now, it's just a C, so I'm gonna average that out to a B. Then we got the giant plant. I always kind of thought the giant plant. Oh yeah, the giant snake. I forgot the giant snake's name is Yawn. The giant snake's name is Yawn. That's so unoriginal. That is so just like, fuck it, man. We gotta come up with something. I don't know, just put something down for now. We'll get to it later. The giant plant I always thought was kind of like fine. Like, it's a different thing. But I mean, we're dealing with monsters here and there's just a big plant. It's fine. Now, what the hell is this thing? Is that just another giant spider? Is that just another giant spider? No, wait, that's the giant spiders that you run into when you're in that part with the web. Right? Yeah, I believe that's what it is. I'm gonna skip that one because I'm not sure. Although, then we got Lisa Trevor. Lisa Trevor is S. Lisa Trevor is the first S. She is almost triple S. She's fantastic. She was the original Nemesis. And you give her like all this, no wait, actually she was only in the remake, wasn't she? She was only in the remake, correct? So she wasn't the original Nemesis. She was just the Nemesis concept interpreted into the less action-y setting of the original Resident Evil. Okay, I've just realized how complicated the Resident Evil timeline is. But yeah, Lisa Trevor is amazing, super spooky. I love the design of her, of how she's got like the mom's face like stitched onto her. And also, like, even though she's chasing after you, she's still got, like, her hands cuffed up. It's an amazing idea behind her design. But also, like, just this idea, like, there's no way to kill her. I love that, like, by the end of that game, you still haven't killed her. You've just, like, tricked her into falling down a chasm, and you're just not going to see her again. And I believe, if memory serves me correct, in that Resident Evil first-person shooter game, when you play through Wesker's campaign, you see that he's the one who actually takes her out. Which is nice. That's a nice little bit of lore building. But speaking of lore building, the other great thing about Lisa is that Resident Evil, it's a franchise that's known for, Resident Evil is a franchise that's known for building its lore through notes. In a way, it was kind of like the original Dark Souls, because it was like, okay, I pick up this note, and I just read about what's going on and how everything happened here, because if you don't read any of the notes, you don't know anything that's happening. So that entire world's history and its lore is built up by the notes that you find. Lisa is a monster that is built up entirely by notes. So I feel like she is a very, like, pinnacle monster for the Resident Evil franchise. Now we got Tyrant. Tyrant's one of those that the first time that it appeared, yeah, it would have been S. Very first time that appeared, was like, oh my goodness, that's great. But now we've had so many other bigger tyrants that kind of gets knocked down. So I'm gonna average it out to an A. Very iconic monster for the first game. It's great. But, you know, we've had better tyrants, but still very good. Now they're jumping around because rather than going into Resident Evil 2, this list goes into Resident Evil 0. And Resident Evil 0 is one of those ones that I have like no memories of. Mostly because I didn't beat it. I'll go ahead and admit that. I started playing it, didn't really care for it. So I didn't get that far into it. So I don't even remember this guy. I think they're just the basic enemies. Don't remember this guy. I remember the monkeys though. I like the monkeys. I enjoy the monkeys. I think the monkeys are great in Resident Evil 0. It's one of the few things that I actually enjoyed about the original Resident Evil 0. And I love their design too. I love that, again, it's not like Yawn, it's not like the snakes, it's not like the spiders where they're just regular ones, only bigger. They've got like the flesh dripping off of them, like, ooh man, they are super creepy. I really enjoy them. The giant scorpion, that's a... giant scorpion is... Honestly, the giant scorpion's boring. I think the giant scorpion's boring. I gotta give that an F. I do not like the giant scorpion. I think it's bland. Same thing goes for the giant centipede. Don't like giant bats. I've always got a soft spot for giant bats. Gonna give that a C. Now we're getting into the stuff that I really have, like, no memories of. I remember the giant leech monster, not from my own playthrough, because like I said, I didn't get a giant leech monster, but I remember it from other people's playthroughs. It's fine, I think it's fine. It's C, it's right down the middle, it's fine. I don't even really remember the frogs, or I don't even know what this guy is here, right next to the liquor. I got no clue who that is. But now we are at the liquors. Liquors A. Liquors, I think, are an amazing enemy in this franchise. And to me, it is like the monster of Resident Evil 2. Like, in terms of like the basic monster. I think it is like the basic monster from Resident Evil 2. It's that one that everybody remembers. And it's that one that, you know, when you go into the second one, you always want to amp up the tension. You always want to amp up the stakes. And I think the liquors were like that perfect next stage monster. It was like, all right, we already had regular zombies, we already had dogs, then we had the hunters. Ooh, man, where you go with the hunters? These creepy ass creatures with the long ass venom tongues and the exposed brains, and they just run and jump around you. They're great. They're an amazing addition to the franchise. It's so good. Someone pointed out that even the Resident Evil movie made them good. Yeah, and nothing in those movies are good, and yet the liquors were still good. I'll go with Giant Crocodile. Giant Crocodile was a good set piece. Good, fun set piece. Let's see. I'm skipping some of these because I just don't care about them at all. The original Tyrant I thought was a B, but his updated version, not the original Tyrant, but the original Mr. X I thought was like a B. Like, he's fine. The updated Mr. X, that is a triple S. The updated Mr. X, that is a triple S. That is one of the best glow-ups in remake history. Everything from the little hat that they gave him to improve his design, to just how well they were able to make him be a threat in that game. How much he was constantly chasing you down. He became like a solid meme for years after that game came out. I guess it's only been 2 years since that game came out. He's still a solid meme to this day. And I just love like the body animations on him. Like when you finally do like hit him really hard in the face, he just kind of has like a moment of like readjusting himself. Like, okay, all right. Cracking his neck and he's back in there. Yeah, he's great. We've got William Birkins in here. We've got multiple different William Birkins, but again, I'm not going to go with the different versions in here. We're just going to pick one William Birkin in here. I think Birkin is a solid A. He is a great recurring boss within that series, and I think within that specific game, I should say. And I do love that he keeps getting bigger every time that you see him. It's great. Let's see. The plant monsters are good. Plant monsters are fine. They're kind of cheap with their one-hit kills, but they're okay. They're all right. Now we're moving into, like I said, I'm not going into the different versions of Birkin in here. Now we're moving into Resident Evil 3. And again, we're like going to merge the original with the remake in here. We're going to go with like the best version of each monster. I'll put it like that because we got these Hunter Gamma, Hunter Alpha, whatever they were. I don't remember which one they were specifically. And they were kind of goofy in the original. They're great in the remake. In the remake, I think they're a solid B. I think they're a solid B. Again, we're going with the best version of these monsters. I know this is a controversial opinion. I didn't really like Nemesis in the remake. I think they kind of dropped the ball with Nemesis in the remake. He was way too easy to put down. He was like literally just one grenade and he's down. That's it. That doesn't really feel right to me. So yeah, I'm gonna just stick with the original, and the original Nemesis is triple S. He's great. He is one of the most iconic monsters in this franchise. Not just from like his design and from like the fact that he's just continuously chasing you down. It just feels like the Terminator and nothing can stop him. But also just that iconic stars. Yeah, man, everybody remembers that. Everybody remembers that. It was great. Giant worm monster, not worth mentioning. This is one thing that I think the remake did do well. They had the new monsters that were just the glowing eye creatures. I think they're really damn good. I think they are a solid upgrade to the regular zombies. I think that was good. The whiteheads, that is what they're called, right? I believe that's what they were called because they were supposed to be like different versions of the Crimson Heads, basically. They're they're okay, but they're just different versions of better monsters that we've seen in other parts of this franchise. Here's the little bugs that attacked you. I think they were fine. They were whatever. You can just completely ignore that stuff. Now we're going into Code Veronica. Oh man, Code Veronica is another one that I have like no memories of. Is this Code Veronica? No, because that's Code Veronica right there. This is Code Veronica. What the hell are these ones? Oh, Dead Aim. Holy crap. Okay, haven't played Dead Aim. We're skipping Dead Aim. We're skipping Dead Aim. I have played, these ones are from Outbreak, and we have played a little bit of Outbreak. Where's the elephant? The only monster from Outbreak that is worth mentioning is the elephant. There it is. That's the elephant. The elephant is legit really good. The elephant is one of the best, like, giant monsters to come from the Resident Evil franchise, and it really is like the main reason that Outbreak is still worth playing. What was that terrible first-person shooter on the PS1? Survivor. Resident Evil Survivor. Yeah, now we're going into Code Veronica. I remember the guys with the big long arms. They're fine. God, yeah, there was not a lot memorable about that. The Ashcroft twin, she's okay. She's fine. That's all right. Now we're getting into the stuff that I have solid memories of, because now we're getting to Resident Evil 4, and I know that right now it's like played out to say this. I know that's been re-released so many times over and over and over and over again that like everybody's just like, oh yeah, we all know about Resident Evil 4, it's fine. I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. Resident Evil 4 is one of my top 2 video games of all time. Like, I know that that is an incredibly basic thing to say. I love that game so much. I have played that game so many freaking times. It's the game that made me a Resident Evil fan. Let's start with the basics. Let's start with the Ganados. The Ganados are just better versions of zombies. They're better versions of zombies. I'm gonna go with a B. The only reason they're not going higher is just simply because there's so many better, like, I got a grade on a curve here. There's so many great monsters in Resident Evil 4. So yeah, for just being the basic zombies, they're great because they did take the basic zombie formula and they upgraded it. They upgraded it so well by just having them be able to think, and that's amazing. That's a wonderful thing that they decided to do in there. I remember, I never really got into Resident Evil until Resident Evil 4. That's the game that got me into this series. But I had a friend who was a big Resident Evil fan, and he hadn't played 4 yet, and I had 4. So he came over to my place, and he was playing it, and he was going through that opening level where you find them all off in the village, and I will never forget when he was aiming at one of the Ganados who was coming at him, and he had his headshot lined up perfectly, and he pulled the trigger, and the Ganado dodged out of the way. His jaw dropped. Like, again, today, that's like one of those, like, oh, that's nothing big. Back then, that was insane. The idea that a basic zombie in a Resident Evil game could dodge, but also the fact that they can talk and they seem, like, organized. It makes them seem like such a bigger threat. It's great. I love that about them. But then, you got Doc in here. You got the old doctor. Oh, the good doctor. This guy. The one-shot chainsaw zombie. That was that guy that when you're going through that opening level of Resident Evil 4, you're like, okay, there's a lot of these guys, but I can outrun them. The moment that that guy pops up with a chainsaw, it's a whole new ball game. This is a completely different game. This is not your daddy's Resident Evil game. This is completely different, and you realize, like, oh, I can't just outrun these guys. That dude is on my ass, and if he catches me, it is game over. And anytime that this guy popped up, you instantly freaked out. Like, no matter how jaded you got to the regular zombies, the moment you heard the chainsaw, you freaked out because you knew he could instantly take you out. He was great in that game. Then you got the dogs. They're just really, they're great. They're better, just like how the Ganados are better versions of the regular zombies, they're better versions of the regular dogs. Because the regular dogs, it was creepy that they were, you know, just zombie dogs. This is the dog from The Thing. It's got tentacles that pop out of it and start attacking you. Then who we got next? Now we've got the castle guys. Really, like, all the castle guys can just go together. They're great. They're wonderful additions, and their chanting is so creepy. Their chanting is so freaking creepy. I remember that was one of those things that used to just keep me up at night, just thinking about their chanting as they're just slowly walking towards you. And then you get the things that pop out of your head that are just insta-kills as well, which were great because you never knew, like, when it was safe to try and attack them. Yeah, this dude, the Wolverine guy, the blind Wolverine guy who you just had to slowly walk around. You want to talk about something in this game that just builds tension? The blind Wolverine dude. Whenever that guy was around, I was just like, okay, everybody shut up. Everybody shut up. Everybody just be cool. Just be cool. Just everybody just slowly just try and walk past this thing. I was on pins and needles every single time that dude appeared. And that's another one of those, like, great monster sounds that you just don't forget from that game. It's been like, what, like almost 20 years since that game came out. It's not been that long, but it's been like over 15 years since that game came out. I still to this day remember that sound effect of when he just like charges up and it's just like ready to start attacking you. Now you've got the haunted armor. The haunted armor is fine. The haunted armor is totally fine. It's a nice addition to throw in there. But then you got the bugs. This is one of the best scares in the game. And one of the reasons why it's one of the best scares, especially for me, is because I'll admit, I started freaking out so much playing this game. Because yeah, I know people say this game isn't scary. It scared the hell out of me. And I was freaking out so much, I was like, I gotta look at a guide because I'm getting too weirded out. I gotta know what's coming up. I gotta know what is coming up. So I cheated and I looked at a guide, and when I looked at the guide, it said that there was going to be this bug monster coming up that could turn invisible. It could turn invisible. And the first time that you encounter this thing, you're walking through the sewer and you just hear the sound effects of it running after you. And it's not attacking you. It is just a sound effect. It's just there to prepare you for this. So it's running after you, and then you hear it like go past you and keep running past you. Now, if you had not played this game before and you didn't look up a guide, then you would be thinking to yourself, oh man, something's coming. Oh no, I guess there was nothing there. I guess nothing was there. But because I had looked up a guide, I knew there were invisible monsters coming up. So I double freaked out. I heard that running and I was like, okay, even if I can't see it, I know something is here. It's like they built this monster specifically for people who were going to look up guides. It's great. So yeah, that thing, bam, all the way up there. But now you got now you got the guys at the military base, which that's the point in which they realize, all right, all the scary stuff is done. You got to the military base at the end and you think, okay, it's not scary anymore. We're just gonna be here for bang, bang, shooty fun time. But then the regenerators come up. These, I think, where did I put them? There you are. I think these are one of the scariest monsters in this entire franchise. I'm tempted to go triple S on this. I'm tempted to go triple S. This thing freaked me out more than almost any other monster in any video game ever. Because not only did they have that just really disturbing, like, shaking motion when they're walking at you, almost like something out of like a J-horror ghost sort of deal. It's so disturbing just the way that they move. But the fact that you can't take them out until you get that special item to like hone in on their weak spots, it was one of those things that just, you constantly had to worry about what it was going to do next. But also, I was talking about the great sound effect that the blind Wolverine guy made. The heavy breathing on this monster. The heavy breathing on this monster scared the hell out of me. You want to talk about one of those sound effects that you just hear it in the game and you're instantly looking around to try and figure out where it's coming from? That heavy breathing sound effect. And when I played this game, I was living in my very first apartment, and in that apartment, there was an air conditioning system that just kicked on by itself. And I remember I would be in my bed at night, and then all of a sudden, I would just hear the of the air conditioner coming to life. And in the back of my mind, it sounded like the sound effect of them breathing, and I would get freaked out. This is one of the few monsters from a video game that has kept me up at night. It's, you know, it's good. It's triple S. It's triple S. I gotta do it. It's triple S. I'm gonna put the Iron Maiden version in just regular S, and the only reason I'm putting it in regular S is simply because we had already seen their regular version, so a little bit of the impact is gone. So, you know, when a little bit of the impact is gone from you seeing it the first time, you know, just because you put some spikes on there, it's not gonna have the same impact, but it's still really damn good. The giant salamander in the lake, I'm gonna put that as a B, really good monster, great way of tricking your friends by telling them that if you shoot the lake, then there's a free, you know, secret in there. El Gigante. Man, that was one of those great boss fights that made you go, oh, we're in a different game now. Oh, I'm not prepared for this. Also, if you want to talk about set pieces, I will never forget the first time that I was playing this game and I was going up against El Gigante, and then all of a sudden you hear the dog bark and you look up and, hey, it's that dog. And the dog that you rescued from earlier in the game shows up and helps you out in this fight. That makes it one of the best boss fights in Resident Evil history. Anytime in which you take something from earlier in the game, especially an optional thing from earlier in the game, a thing that you didn't even have to do, and you take that and then you bring it back to help you out later in the game when you weren't expecting it at all, I love it. I am a sucker for that kind of thing. Then you got the boss. The boss is good, but there's some better monsters in there. In all honesty, he was more threatening before he took the coat off. He was more threatening before he took the coat off when he was just the big guy walking after you. That dude right there was an A, but when you see that he's just got a big salamander body, it's like, okay. And you're not as threatening when I see that you don't have like a six-pack under there. What was the guy who ran the castle? I'm forgetting the name of the guy who ran the castle. I'm forgetting his name. But you've got his special Terminator bugs that chase after you. They're really solid as well. The only reason they're not going higher is because, again, I'm grading all the Resident Evil 4 characters on a curve here. So comparing them to the other guys up there, yeah, they're a B. But yeah, God, what was the name of Salazar? Salazar, I got before the chat told me. Yeah, Salazar's little bodyguards there's, yeah. His right hand.
I've sent my right hand to dispose of you.
Your right hand comes off?
Then you got Salazar himself. I honestly don't know what to judge this one. Because it is a really good big monster. It is really freaky. And Leon's line when he goes in there, the monsters. I guess after this, there'll be one less to worry about. It's one of the most badass lines in Resident Evil history. It's so freaking good. But I can't really judge the boss fight all that much because every single time that I went up against him, I always just took out the rocket launcher and took him out instantly. So I can't really judge the boss fight all that much. But you know what? The fact that he forced me to use the rocket launcher, and also just judging him as a character, just judging him as such a great character in there, yeah, he's going in A. He's going in A. Next up, you've got... Oh, this is that thing that I can't remember the name of. U3. U3, that was it. Thank you. I always remember, I was looking at a guide when I played this the first time, and it just said it. It just said it. That's all they described it as. Yeah, that thing is an S. Because you want to talk about them just going like, listen, you've gotten this far in the game. You've seen a lot of crazy stuff. How can we top all the crazy stuff you've seen so far? Oh, let's just put it all into one monster. Let's just put it all into one big thing. Yeah, that's it. That's perfect. That is great. That is wonderful. Yeah, so that is a great way of going like, we know you're late in the game and not a lot is going to surprise you. This is still going to surprise you. And that whole sequence where you had to like run through the thing and like drop the containers you were on to get away from it. That was a great sequence in there. Yeah, so that is an S. That is an S. Now you've got Krauser. Krauser's fine. The only good thing about Krauser is that he adds to Leon's backstory. That is the best thing about Krauser is what he adds to Leon. But he's not really like, this is when Resident Evil became very Call of Duty. This is when Krauser was like really the start of Call of Duty Resident Evil to me. Because he was just like, I'm military man, but I've got a big monster hand. It's like, okay. Although I will say that knife fight was awesome. The knife fight with Krauser is fantastic. It's one of those things that these days it's played out. It's like, oh gosh, just a quick time event. Back then when quick time events weren't really a thing, it was like, holy crap, we can do this in video games now? So yeah, I gotta give it credit for that. Now, is this? Okay, yeah, this is the big boss. Sadler, thank you, Sadler. I think he's fine. He's small time. Again, he's just there to give Leon opportunities to be cool. Yeah, it's a good solid final boss fight, but you know, again, judging it on a curve compared to some of the other Resident Evil monsters from 4 in there, yeah, he's a B. He's a B. Now we're going into 5. What were these guys called? I can't remember what, but yeah, it's just the Ganados from 5. And they're just the Ganados from 5, but now they've got like predator mouths. So again, kind of grading it compared to like, the Ganados went up to a B, and as I mentioned with the Regenerators, once you've seen it, it's kind of hard to like top that thing. Ouroboros was the virus in there. Magini! I was gonna say Majigan, but I was like, that's not it. Magini, thank you. So yeah, it's like, they're just these guys again, but with predator mouths, and it's like, we've already seen these guys. So it wasn't enough of a change. Same thing goes for the dogs. They're not as good as the dogs in there. They're just dogs again. So yeah, they're going in C. I honestly feel like almost all the basic villains from 5 can just go in C. I'm not gonna clear this thing up, but I figure like they can all go in C because they're just the Resident Evil 4 creatures, but we've seen them again. That's it. But now we're going into, what the hell is this thing? Do you guys see this? What the hell is the giant flesh monster in there? I have no memories of that. I'm just gonna skip ahead to the monsters that I do have memories of. We've got the giant leech monster from in there. It's a C, just a giant leech monster. I will say, this might be an unpopular opinion, I actually like the bat. I actually think the bat is a cool monster. Yeah, you've got the giant guy in here, which again, we've seen it. It's just a thing that we saw again, but I'll still put him in B, because the original was an S, so it's so good. So even seeing it again with a beard, it's like, hey, he's got a beard now. He's got a new hat. So it's like, okay, yeah, it's fine. Also, the way that you fight him, the fact that it's like a turret mission, it makes it different. I'll give him that, it does make it different. The red thing is RE5's liquor. Oh, right, there were liquors in RE5. I remember that moment in which you go down the corner and then they all jump out at you from behind these cases. And I threw one grenade down and took them all out instantly. All right, yeah, they're just lickers. We're not going to do duplicate monsters in here. Yeah, but yeah, they're just lickers in here. Oh no, this dude was not from the DLC. Okay, I'm remembering now, I'm remembering. This was the dude that chased you down at the beginning, the dude with the giant axe in the hood. I actually think he's pretty dope. I actually think that's one of the better monsters in Resident Evil 5. So let me go ahead and give that a point. Now we're getting to the point where the tiny pictures on here are really starting to screw me up. Because I cannot even make out what some of these guys are. I did not realize how little I remember about the monsters in Resident Evil 5 until right now. Because I did actually like Resident Evil 5, but man, I'm forgetting this stuff. Then you got the big plant monster. The only thing really worth mentioning about the big plant monster is that you use the satellite to take it out. That's kind of cool. And then we're gonna go with Wesker. Wesker's triple S. Wesker's one of the best video game villains of all time. And here's the weird thing. Wesker, he does just become like a really big like Matrix ripoff there, doing all kinds of kicks and flips and bullet dodges. But it's just the personality of him. And it's just the line reach from that actor that just put him so over the top. Like, it's so great whenever you get an actor in a role and they realize what they're supposed to do. And the actor behind Wesker knew what his role was. He knew what he was supposed to do. He knew he was supposed to be as cheesy and over the top as possible, and he just gave it his all on that. Like, all those lines in there about the complete global saturation. Just the fact that he feels like he's just so mad at Chris that he's just going to explode at any moment, but he's also being incredibly cocky about it. His personality is so good. And also that boss fight. That boss fight was the moment when the series said, okay, we're just gonna get stupid and we're going to jump the shark in here. Actually, no. That's not them jumping the shark. I'll tell you when it's them jumping the shark. But that's the moment in this franchise where they're like, we're just gonna go completely over the top on this. We're just gonna go completely cornball on this. But they nailed it? Like, we're about to go into Resident Evil 6, and Resident Evil 6 is when they went over the top and they didn't nail it. That boss fight in the volcano where you're punching the boulder and you've got Wesker monologuing to you the entire time, that was the moment in which they went over the top, but to the exact right amount. Like, they just got it right. If they had gone any dumber with that, it would have been too dumb. And if it had been any less dumb, it would have been, like, not crazy enough for you to ignore it. So they nailed it. Yeah, Wesker, triple S for all those reasons and more. Yeah, okay. Now we're going into, oh god, what was it? Outbreak? The one where you're on the boat? I have very little memories about this one as well. I do remember playing through it, but I just remember that the basic goo monsters were really dumb. I didn't care for them at all. They're D-class. I do think that, this guy. I remember this guy. He was pretty dope. The big thing monster. I thought he was pretty great. It's not Outbreak, it's Revelations. Thank you. I knew Outbreak. Outbreak is the one we were just talking about a moment ago. Yeah, okay. Revelations, thank you. Okay, now, yeah, like I said, I'm skipping a lot of stuff from Revelations. Only the stuff that's really worth mentioning. But now we're going into 6. Oh, 6. Even less memorable than the monsters from 5. And the ones I remember aren't good. You've got the it's made of boobs and it farts monster. F. I don't think I need to say anything else other than the description of that monster. F. Let's see. You've got the really big guys, which they're just ripped off directly from... These were in Resident Evil 6, right? I'm not making that up. Am I misremembering this? The really big dudes? They were in 6, right? They're just from Left 4 Dead. They're just the blurs from Left 4 Dead. Let's see. Then you've just got basic dudes with guns. Get the hell out of here with that stuff. There's nothing creepy about them. They're just basic dudes with guns. Like, the moment you start giving the zombies guns, it's over. It's done. Nope. Don't care. Don't care at all. Then you've got the flying ones. I think the flying ones are actually okay. I think they were, you know what, I'm gonna give them a C. They were fine. I think they were fine. I can't even make out these guys in here. These guys, I got no clue. I can't even make them out. More basic dudes with guns. I'm not gonna double up on that. Let's just go into the monsters, because nothing about the monsters in, nothing about the basic monsters in Resident Evil 6 were memorable. I remember there was the one guy who just screamed and ran and he had to have chase after him. I don't even know which of these guys that one was. Oh, it was this guy because he had the glowing chest. He sucks. You know, I'm gonna give him a D because there's at least a trace of a good idea in there. There's a trace of like a monster that can like scream and alert other monsters around you. I'm gonna skip a lot more of like the basic monsters in here. This guy, the really big monster, you know, having a kaiju-sized monster, it's okay, it's a cool idea, but it feels like they were just trying to go, oh, you liked El Gigante? Well, we're gonna top El Gigante. We're gonna make an even bigger El Gigante. And it's like, yeah, it just kind of speaks to Resident Evil 6 just trying to go like, we're gonna be the thing that you like from 4, but more of it. And it's like, no, it just feels very try-hard. It feels like they're just trying way too hard to make you like that game. Oh, there's the giant snake everyone's talking about. Everybody says that's from Chris's campaign. That's the one campaign I didn't play in there. Here's the moment they jumped the shark. Here's the moment they jumped the shark in which Leon is going down a water slide that goes through the planet. And it's like they're trying to outdo the previous games by going like, oh, you remember the crocodile from Resident Evil 2? Well, now Leon has to escape from a shark, a big mutant shark. And it's like, all right, I'm gonna give it points because it at least kind of looks cool. It does at least kind of look cool, but again, it is just them trying to go like, oh, it's that thing, and now it's going to be bigger and badder than ever. And it's like, dude, it's rare that you can look at a game and go, you're just ripping off yourself. Okay, now you've got, oh god, what was her name? Leon's partner in that game who no one remembers. And she had a sister, and she just got big tentacle arms. The big tentacle arms are kind of nice, so I'll give you that. Helena, thank you. Now we come to the giant fly. Now I'm gonna say something. I don't see it on here. I do not see it on this list. But so I think they're trying to include it all in this one monster. This was Simmons. And if you remember, Simmons had 4 different forms. He had 4 different forms, and to me, this giant fly is everything that it was wrong with Resident Evil 6. And I'll tell you why. I'm putting it in D, because there's still some cool stuff in there, but to me, Simmons is everything that was wrong with Resident Evil 6. They had no original ideas. The great thing about Resident Evil 5 is that Umbrella is finally gone. The evil is finally defeated. Now if we want to do something new, we have to come up with something new. And they didn't come up with anything new. Their new idea was, hey, what if a new guy wanted to make a new Umbrella? It's like, no, dude, Umbrella is gone. It's done. It's over. And literally, he's just a guy who wants to make a new Umbrella. That's it. But also, this fight, when you talk about how Resident Evil 6 was like, we gotta go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This is the embodiment of they didn't know when to stop. You got Simmons, I believe he starts off in like a humanoid form. Then he turns into like a wolf form that's chasing you down atop trains. Then you gotta battle that wolf form like going up the side of a building. And then he turns into a giant T-Rex. All right, classic 3-phase boss. Small, medium size, large. He's a giant T-Rex there at the end. You're not gonna get bigger than that. And if they had left it at that, that would have been passable. But they didn't leave it at that. Instead, they're like, no, there's more. There's one more thing. And as you're leaving, he then turns into just this giant fly. And at that point, I felt myself be more done with this game than I have ever been with a game. When it comes to Simmons, he's already a giant wolf in phase 2. And then he turns into a goddamn T-Rex. And then they said, no, not enough. Go more stupid. That was their idea with Simmons, and it's like, yeah, you really went overboard with it. I can't tell. Oh wait, there he is. The Ustinak was that his name? Was that its name? I can't remember. It's just them trying to do Nemesis again. And I'd like to point out, there's a good idea behind, Resident Evil 6. Okay. Resident Evil 6 was them going, all right, Resident Evil has become many different things to many different people out there. So we're going to make a game that has 3 campaigns, and each campaign is going to try and capture what people liked about these individual games. And they just kind of failed on every single front. But this was trying to be Nemesis, so it's not like they were trying to rip Nemesis off. They were specifically going, let's make another Nemesis. And again, as we point out, there has been Mr. X, there had been Lisa Trevor, there have been monsters that chase you around before. So I'm not gonna count off 2 more points for him just being Nemesis again. And I do kind of like that, you know, he's got some things to his design that I think are okay. So I'm gonna be real nice. I think I'm being super nice on this one by giving him a B. I think I'm being more than fair on that. And now I'm not even remembering these guys in here. One of these is Clone Ada. Which again, you gotta play through Ada's campaign by doing the other 3 campaigns, and I didn't even do Chris's campaign, because after doing Wesker Jr. and Leon, I was like, I'm out, I'm done, I'm good. By the way, I'm just gonna say this, I'm really hoping that DLC that they have planned for Resident Evil Village is an Ada campaign, because we've all seen the artwork that shows that Ada was supposed to be in Resident Evil 8, but they ended up cutting her because they didn't have time, and they didn't really know what exactly to do with her. But Ada was in 2, she was in 4, she was in 6, I feel like she needs to be in 8. I feel like she needs to be an 8. Or Leon, because Leon has also been in 2, 4, and 6. But I feel like Ada, like, it'd be kind of hard to just shove Leon into that campaign. Ada, you could definitely put in the background and give, like, assignment Ada and show she's doing some stuff in the background. Plus, Ada has a storyline that never got really... I think Ada's storyline from 4, where she was working for someone else, didn't play out in 6. Maybe it did, I don't know. Like I said, didn't play a campaign, and I'm trying to delete all of Resident Evil 6 from my memory. So yeah, I can't... So, it does feel like she's still got more to do. But yeah, it just feels like for consistency's sake, if she's in 2, if she's in 4, if she's in 6, put her in 8, put her in that DLC for 8. Now, I believe this was Revelations 2. I did not play Revelations 2. I will admit, did not play Revelations 2. But now, we're going into Resident Evil 7. We got the goo monsters. I think the molded are fine. You just needed a big goo monster to fight in that game. They gave you a big goo monster, and they did the job. The molded worked totally fine for what they were supposed to be. They are a C, they're right down the middle. Which, you know, Resident Evil 7 was supposed to be return to horror. They're there with the zombies, they're right there, they're the standard monster, they're fine. But now, we got... What the hell is that? Oh, that's the big fat ones. That's the big ones that puke everywhere. It's fine, they're just up there every night. Then you got the bugs. Bugs are just there for atmosphere, it's fine, it's whatever, it's fine. No one cares about the basic enemies in Resident Evil 7. We're all here for the bosses. Which, oh god, yeah, there's so many just, like, goo monsters. There's so many just variations of goo monster. They all get C. Goo monster all get C. But now, we're going into, alright, Evelyn, I liked a lot. Resident Evil 7 is a great game. I really enjoy Resident Evil 7. But as soon as you realize that game was made by the guy who made Fear, you realize, oh, it's you just want to make Fear again. So creepy little girl. All right, fine. But she does have, like, the way that she actually plays in Resident Evil 8, it's weird. I didn't really care about Evelyn, but Resident Evil 8 made her better. So in a weird way, I almost want to bump her up, but nope, not gonna do that. Jack, oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. Gotta scroll back up here. Jack's an S. Jack is a solid S. Jack sold Resident Evil 7. He's got the personality. He's got the sympathetic backstory in there. He's got the weird, crazy mutations. He's got the over-the-top sense of humor that this franchise is known for. It's great. It's great. So good. He's excellent. And he's got memorable moments. That's the important thing, too. Your monsters have to have memorable moments. The moment in which he bursts through that wall when you're trying to escape from him, mwah, so good. That's excellent. Now we got Marguerite. Marguerite, I think, is another great boss. Also, she's one of the creepiest bosses in this franchise. I think she's really solid. She's not S, but she is an A. She is a solid A. Marguerite is a solid A. Yeah, that bug form of her, man. One of the creepiest monsters in here. That's one of those monsters that you know you have to shoot, but you don't want to, because in order to shoot, you have to look at it, and you don't want to look at it. Lucas, I think, is... You know, here's the thing. As far as a boss goes, he's a C. He's standard, it doesn't matter. But in terms of providing something new to the franchise, when he's just being Jigsaw, and he's just putting you in the trap, I think that that's great. I think that's really solid. I'm gonna say it all averages out to being right there in a B. Yeah. His mutant form, not all that great, but him just as like the mastermind sicko, I think that's an A, so I think it averages out to being a B. Now, okay, this is the weird zombie swamp thing Jack from the DLC. And I know people are mad because they're saying like, oh, that means that Jack's whole thing doesn't matter of him like, like that message that he gives you, and also you using up one of the vials to kill Jack there. It didn't actually do anything, and people are mad about that. Here's the thing. There is a note that you find in that story mode that says that there is a species of this monster that absorbs dead tissue and takes in their memories. And once you find that note, you go, oh, so you using that vial actually did kill Jack. This is a completely different monster that absorbed Jack's body and like now has some of Jack's memories in there. And I'll tell you why that's great. That is massive ass foreshadowing for Resident Evil 8. If you haven't beat Resident Evil 8, tune out now. I think we've all watched enough playthroughs of it and we played ourselves, so we all know what happened, but that is massive ass foreshadowing for Resident Evil 8. And that little bit alone, that makes me tempted to put it up at an A. Like that amount of world building that plays off in a later game is so good. But I'm gonna like just judge the monster itself. Just leave it there. Also, by the way, Resident Evil 7 begins with Jack coming up to you, punching you in the face, and saying, welcome to the family. The final bit of DLC for Resident Evil 7 is Jack's brother being controlled by you, the player, now punching Jack in the face and saying goodbye from the family.
It's a farewell from the family, brother.
I think that is an amazing way of balancing everything out. I think that's an amazing way of balancing everything. Like that, man, bookends. I'm a sucker for bookends. I love that. So yeah, I'm gonna put that guy at a B. All right, now we're getting into Resident Evil 8. Very nice that all the Resident Evil 8s are right here on like one row down here. Just bam, these final two rows are them. Werewolves. Werewolves in Resident Evil. It's a great idea. You know what? It's such a good, unique idea of like going like, hey, we've been doing zombies this whole time. Let's do another monster in there. I think that's good. But also, I love that Resident Evil 8 was just like, we're just gonna do classic monsters. We're just going to do like the classic universal monsters. And I love that Resident Evil 8 was trying to do something different than just zombies, but still trying to do horror by making every single monster just a different like universal monster. So making werewolves the basic standard, I think that's good. I think that is really good. Then we go into, what is that? Oh, that's the armored ones. That's the armored ones. I'm gonna give them a B because I laughed so hard the first time that I saw that. First time that I saw that, I thought that was good. I thought that was really damn good. I thought like, the first time that they walked around the corner and they were wearing armor, I went, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? I think the bigger werewolves are cool as well. I'm a sucker for werewolves. And yeah, again, the way that it's introduced is so good. The way that it's introduced is so good, because you just come walking in through there and you've just been through this big thing and you're just like, all right. Oh, I'm tired. I really just need to take a chill pill. And now I just need to rest for a little bit. And then that guy comes right up there. And you get attacked by the giant ass werewolf. Yeah, I think it's great. I think that's a solid way to introduce that. But then you got just the basic guys in the cellar. I think they're fine. They're basic standard, like you had to shoot something in the cellar, there you go. There you go. That's all it is. Just you had to go with like one basic thing in the cellar. Then you got gargoyles. I think the gargoyles are an interesting idea, but they look kind of dumb. I think they look kind of dumb. Then, oh wow, this thing is not going in chronological order. Now we're skimming all over to the Frankenstein monsters from Heisenberg's castle. I don't know, I'm very tempted to move the Frankensteins up to B. Because, again, I do really like that this game was going like, all right, everything is going to be themed around classic Universal monsters. And I think taking the basic zombies and turning them into Frankenstein stuff, I think that was actually a cool idea. Do we have the Propellerhead monster in here? There he is. It's just a picture of an engine. It's just a picture of an engine. Oh, and here are the super armored ones, which those guys, that's when it got too stupid for me. The Propellerhead guy, I don't know, that guy is either A or F. I really don't know. He's B because it was one of those moments. Anytime that Resident Evil can make you go, what the hell is that? I think Resident Evil is doing its job correctly. And yeah, I think we all kind of said that when we saw the Propellerhead guy in there. His boss fight is incredibly stupid, but man, it's fun. Then you got the whatever his name is. I think he's got a trophy that's something like screw you or something. Yeah, I like big beard guy. He's cool. He is like a decent like upgrade of like the big axe carrying monster from 5. Man, this is one I'm gonna get real controversial on this. I think Lady D was great in all the ads leading up to it, in which they were like, oh man, what is this monster gonna be? I think she was super disappointed in the actual game itself. I think she was super disappointed in the actual game itself. The daughters are kind of cool, but once you figure out the trick, it's kind of just like not as interesting. Also, they really irritated me, honestly. Yeah, the daughters kind of irritated me a lot in that game. But yeah, like with that one in which you had to keep opening up the ceiling over and over and over again, it was just like, all right, gotta go over and do this thing again. Yeah, I think the daughters are a C. I gotta give them a C. But then Lady D, like in concept is an S. In concept, you know, Nemesis, except it's just a 9-foot tall fancy lady is like, okay, with like long Lady Deathstrike fingers. All right, that's like an S-class idea. In execution, all the hallways in her mansion are so big that it's easy to just walk around her. She was never a threat at all, but she does have a cool monster form. I think she's got kind of a cool monster form. So yeah, I'm gonna be, and also the fact that she's just taken out so early. The fact that she is taken out so early. She does, yeah, she does give good foreshadowing, that's the word. She gives good foreshadowing to the twist with Ethan by commenting on his blood. I think that was actually really cool. So I'm giving her a B. I know people are gonna be mad at me, but yeah, I think that I do not think that she definitely didn't live up to the expectations. I know that. I know she didn't live up to the expectations because we all thought she was gonna be like the big mastermind behind all this stuff. And she didn't have to be the big mastermind, but the fact she's taken out immediately. The fact she is taken out immediately is like, oh man, yeah, so she's getting up to B, and a lot of that is just like expectations and just like the hype around her. Anyway, Giant Nightmare Baby is an S. Giant Nightmare Baby is great. Remember when this game just suddenly decided for a couple of minutes to just turn to Silent Hill? I almost want to know if a completely different team made that part of the game, simply because of how different it feels from the rest of that game. And if it was made by a completely different corner of that game, can we get that team to just make a new Haunting Ground? Because all I can think is, okay, this is a part of the game in which you're just doing puzzle stuff, and you don't have any weapons, and all you do is run from the monster. That is why Haunting Ground was so incredibly fun. Just get that team to make like a 4-hour puzzle-filled Haunting Ground spiritual successor, put that thing out there, and bam, I can get something new from Capcom that isn't Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, or Street Fighter. I'm just desperate for literally any other franchise. Then there's the Puppet Lady. I think Puppet Lady's pretty cool. The cool thing about the puppet lady, though, it's weird. I kind of feel like these two have to share it. Because the cool thing about the puppet lady is the level that she puts you in. So I'm going to say the level she puts you in is this. I'm going to say the boss fight where it's just a hide and seek game is her. And I think that's really cool. I think that was fun. I enjoyed it. Then you got the giant fish guy. The giant fish guy gets to be a B, and I'm going to tell you why. It's rare that you can have a monster who during the middle of the fight just says, I'm trying my best. And it's like, you sure are, buddy. Like, you kind of feel bad for him because you just know that Lady D is a complete dick to him. And Heisenberg is definitely a complete dick to him. Puppet Lady probably treats him okay. But you know that, like, just the rest of the members of his family just treat him like a pile of crap and he's just trying to prove himself. And I kind of almost felt bad for Giant Fish Guy. It's like, oh, come on, buddy. I'll go and get you some McDonald's. I don't want to fight you right now. Come on, like, give me the vial and we'll get out of here together, Giant Fish Guy. Come on. Yeah, I thought Giant Fish Guy was okay. Then Heisenberg. I love Heisenberg. Heisenberg's the best. Heisenberg is what Lady D should have been. Heisenberg is the best boss in that entire game. Just because of personality. He's Nick Cage. Like, it's so weird. I've watched so many Let's Plays of Resident Evil 8, and so many people have said, I know that voice, but I can't figure out where. I'm gonna tell all of you right now where you know that voice from. It's Nick Cage. It's just a Nick Cage impersonation. Ethan Winters, if you join up with me, we can take down that giant-sized bitch and Lady Miranda. Yeah, it's just Nick Cage. That's all that he is. But how can you not like Nick Cage? How can you not like Nick Cage with Magneto powers who calls Chris Redfield that giant boulder-punching asshole? How can you not like that? Also, again, I do like that the theme they went with this game is that they were all going to be universal monsters. He's Frankenstein, but he's not Frankenstein's monster. He's actually Frankenstein the scientist. No one ever makes Frankenstein the scientist a monster. They always just make Frankenstein's monster the monster. I thought it was really cool that for once we actually got a game where Frankenstein was the monster. I thought that was great. Yeah, Heisenberg is an A. So for the final one, it's Lady Miranda herself. Lady Miranda, I dig that she's important to the world. I dig that she's important to the world. I dig that they were like, hey, who's the person that trained Spencer? I think that's great. I love how she ties Seven into the overall story. I love that she's just a big puzzle piece. I love that she's just one big puzzle piece that just like, oh, that's that piece we were missing in the middle. Now everything connects to itself. That's kind of cool. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I really dug that. I really dug that. And also, I think her final boss fight is great. I think her final boss fight is insanely fun with a lot of cool stages in there. The only thing is, she is so gone from the majority of this game. Like Heisenberg, you get little bits and pieces of him throughout it. And then all throughout his level, you get it. Mother Miranda pops up right at the end of Heisenberg, and then she is a boss fight. She needs more. She needed more in there, but I do think she's really... I want to put her at A. I'm going to put her at A. I'm going to put her at A. I do think that boss fight was really good. I think that boss fight kind of saved it. So, yeah. There it is. Wow. When I look at it all, I'm like, you know what? That fits. That fits. I can deal with all this. Yeah. When it comes to some of the best monsters, yeah, we're going with... I believe this is a solid triple S selection up here. I believe that's the solid triple S's. And then these are really good run-ups. You know what? I'm actually going to put the Iron... I really like the Iron Maiden, but when I'm looking at the degree of other monsters it's up there with, it doesn't stand up next to Jack or El Gigante. So yeah, I'm going to put it down there. But aside from that, I'm feeling pretty good about this list. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for tuning into this. Make sure that you come back tomorrow or today or whenever this video goes up. Make sure that you come back on Halloween, because that is when the big finale of Thorgiween goes up. Is a massive retrospective of a series that is very important to me. But yeah, thank you guys very much for tuning in. And you know what? Like I said, we do tier list on Twitch at twitch.tv/ProfessorThorgy all the time. If you want to see us start uploading them onto the channel more, then let us know. And we will start doing that, because I can always ramble about nonsense for a while. I'm pretty good at that. It's the one thing I am good at. So yeah, thank you guys very much. Bye. Oh, and happy Halloween.